Nothing inspires military innovation like the near destruction of your entire species. This can definitively be seen in the Omega-class heavy cruiser designed and built by Earth Alliance. Constructed during the Earth-Minbari War. Oh, you remember that war. That was the war that the human race was being slaughtered and no other governments wanted to get involved except for the Narn, whom were basically the heroes at that point in time. The Omega class is effectively the predecessor of the Nova class. Unlike the Elder vessel, the Omega was built with the Minbari in mind, being more able to combat that species' counterparts. The warship is around 1,714 meters long and can operate with only 250 military personnel. However, it is outfitted to sustain over 1,000 members. This includes the crew of the vessel itself, starfighter pilots, and troops ready to be deployed when necessary. While it takes its inspiration from the older vessel, utilizing many of the compartments that the Nova class did, the starkest difference is the centrifuge that generally spins and creates artificial gravity. Though, if I'm being honest, the more I watch the footage, the more I can see this as a potential weakness. The Nova class didn't have artificial gravity. This meant that the crew would have to rely on hand grips and straps to prevent them from floating everywhere. However, the layout of the Omega class doesn't largely utilize straps or hand grips. Now, this may seem logical not to have these installed. Again, they have the gravity after all. It doesn't account for what happens if the centrifuge is damaged, though. Without gravity, the bridge crew would begin floating without the ability to reach their consoles. It would seem to me, if I was fighting this thing, I would aim for components that cause the centrifuge to spin. That way, once it stops spinning, the crew begins to float, and I've won the battle. It's definitely possible they had contingencies for this, perhaps even in the show it's talked about. However, everything I've read and saw doesn't account for the possible nightmare that could occur in battle. Let me know if I missed something though. The ship is manufactured at Rocketdyne Industries, because it's not sci-fi unless there is a dyne on the end of the manufacturing company. As stated, it comes in at 1,714 meters long and has faster than light capability. It is able to navigate in subspace with 4 Beige Bryant 9000A particle thrust engines. The vessel would have a complement of up to 36 Starfury Aurora fighters. These would ultimately be replaced by Starfury Thunderbolt fighters after 2260. It also had boarding craft as well as cargo and utility shuttlecraft. The vessel, like many in the Earth Alliance, is modifiable and weapon system layouts can differ based on the mission needed. The standard version includes 4 52mm plasma pulse cannons, 2 gimbal forward laser batteries, 12 40mm pulse cannons, broadside missile tubes, EM interceptor arrays, i.e. point defense, and would sometimes be outfitted with 2 fusion missiles. According to Space Dock, the use of fusion missiles was rare due to the extreme cost. Additionally, the ship has 2 aft laser batteries that could fire behind the ship, a feature a lot of science fiction forgets to add to its vessels. The vessel utilized heavy armor plating, advanced comm arrays, and tactical coordination stations. The early models would be outfitted with the XB-7 tracking systems used during the Earth-Minbari War, but would be upgraded to DX-419 tracking systems later. Not surprisingly, Earth military advancements would allow future iterations to detect and lock onto Minbari ships, something that couldn't previously be done. Unlike other series, such as Star Trek, where Starfleet would attempt to stop being a military and move into a pacifistic era, the Earth Alliance never pretended for its military to be anything that it wasn't, and it was reflective in the ships. The Omega is the answer to Minbari aggression and is one of the most powerful ships of the younger races. These vessels would expand the power of the Earth Alliance greatly and would be central figures during the Earth Civil War. What are your specific thoughts on the Omega? One of the best ships or a grave disappointment? Let me know in the comments below.